If you're watching this video, I need you to pay close attention. What I'm about to tell you isn't just another horror story, it's a warning. Because sometimes, the people who smile at us the most are the ones hiding the darkest secrets. And when you discover the truth, it's already too late. Weddings are supposed to be joyous celebrations, moments where families come together to share in the happiness of the newlyweds. But this story transformed what should have been the happiest day of Sophia's life into a nightmare that none of the guests would ever forget. It all began in a beautiful mansion on the outskirts of the city, one of those old houses with long corridors and numerous rooms. The kind of place where secrets can hide in the shadows for years. It was a sunny spring morning, and the sunbeams filtering through the tall windows created an almost magical atmosphere as the bridesmaids rushed back and forth, finalizing preparations for the ceremony. Mary, the mother of the bride, was in the main bedroom, helping her daughter Sophia with the final adjustments to her dress. Her expert hands worked delicately on the lace and pearls, while her eyes moistened seeing how beautiful her little girl looked. No one could have imagined that in less than an hour, those same hands would be desperately pounding on a closet door in the darkness. "The dress is perfect, Mom," said Sophia, twirling in front of the mirror. "We just need the veil." "It's in the hallway closet," Mary replied with a smile. "I'll get it. Won't take a minute." As Mary walked down the carpeted corridor, her heels softly echoed against the wooden floor. The hallway was deserted. All the guests and wedding staff were either on the first floor or in the garden. That's when she saw it, a reflection in the antique mirror decorating the wall. A familiar figure approaching stealthily from behind. Before she could turn completely, she felt a violent push that sent her forward. Her hands barely managed to protect her face as her body crashed into the boxes and hangers inside the closet. The dull thud of the door closing was followed by the unmistakable sound of a key turning in the lock. "Help! Let me out of here!" Mary's screams echoed inside the confined space, but the party music filtering from the garden completely drowned them out. Panic began to take over as she pounded on the door again and again until her fists ached. In the total darkness of the closet, minutes felt like hours. The air grew increasingly heavy, and the space seemed to shrink around her. Mary could hear the laughter and conversations of the guests, the music, the toasts, all so close yet so unreachable. Her mind circled around a single thought. Her daughter needed her, and she was trapped in this makeshift prison. Meanwhile, in the bride's room, Mary's absence was beginning to cause concern. Sophia kept checking her watch, aware that the ceremony time was inexorably approaching. "Where's your mother?" asked Carmen, Sophia's stepmother, entering the room with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "We should be heading to the church by now. She went to get my veil over an hour ago," Sophia replied, worry evident in her voice. This isn't like her at all. The search began. Guests spread throughout the house, calling for Mary. Tension grew with each passing minute. That's when Sophia, passing through the second-floor hallway, heard fate knocking coming from the closet. "Sophia, I'm in here. Your stepmother locked me in." Several guests rushed to open the closet. The sight that greeted them left them frozen. Mary emerged unsteadily, her makeup streaked with tears and her hair in disarray. Her elegant dress was wrinkled and dirty, but her eyes blazed with a mixture of relief and contained fury. The gathered crowd held their breath as Mary, with a shaking but firm voice, raised her hand and pointed directly at Carmen. "I saw her in the mirror's reflection. She was the one who pushed me and locked me in here." The silence that followed was deafening. Carmen, who until that moment had maintained her composure, visibly paled. When someone suggested checking her purse, the closet key appeared as mute evidence of her guilt. "Why?" Sophia's question, loaded with pain and confusion, seemed to break something inside Carmen. "Because she'll always be your mother." Carmen exploded, with tears of rage in her eyes. "No matter how many years I spend by your side, no matter how much I care for you or how much I love you, I'll always be just your father's wife." I wanted her to feel what it's like to be excluded for once, to be locked away while life goes on without you. The police arrived minutes later. As they took Carmen away, the guests watched the scene with a mixture of horror and fascination. The wedding was delayed by an hour, time necessary for Mary to compose herself and be ready to accompany her daughter to the altar. When Mary finally walked alongside Sophia toward the church, her presence radiated an unbreakable strength. The incident had proven that the bond between mother and daughter was something that not even the deepest darkness could break. This story reminds us that sometimes the most terrifying monsters don't hide under beds or in dark closets, but behind familiar smiles and hugs that conceal daggers. Appearances deceive, and jealousy can transform love into a hatred so deep it consumes the soul until it turns a person into something unrecognizable. Carmen is now serving time for attempted kidnapping, but the emotional scars she left on the family are a sentence that will last a lifetime. Sophia and Mary are closer than ever, but they both admit they can never look at closets the same way again. And you? Have you ever discovered that someone close was hiding such deep darkness? Have you felt the betrayal of someone you blindly trusted? Share your experience in the comments. And if this story made your skin crawl as much as it did mine, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss more stories that will make you question those around you. Because remember, sometimes the real monsters share our table and our roof.